Do I have to score this car in this way, or do we want to use restraints? Something like these balls and... But finally, you want to do the clock yourself. So if you are interested in this subject and you think this tutorial is useful to you, stay with us. Well, let's start, in order to program, on each of these parameters, that it is the money position. To the posterior we have, it is enough for me to grab clip art. I click on this time icon on stability when I click on this icon. We see that it gives me one writing space and the parameters turn red, which should make the details clear. Because of the dependency created, it says when it's not you, this is no longer just through this code, it is. Parameters are executed. In saying the to value, the second look is also there, which can also be for us. The frequency debate is how many times you move an item per unit of its numerical value. However, this movement is in seconds, determines how much this feature allows for movement and displacement. Shows you. Well, I click on this layer to open it, and a penalty, for example, select an individual position. I choose I miss you so much, and try to figure out where I can talk when a package is created. Now I just press 5 and I'm typing 4. I said, if 5 is my frequency, vibrations also occur every second, and the only solution is either security or my displacement. If I say now, I increase the value. See that I add to it, the vibrations also increase from above. They take it. I increase the difference by 1 year more than the second. Compared to the displacement, this point is more important for me. It hits me, and understand it better at 400, this shifting. But the point in coding is that the car should be written as it is, both in capitalization and spacing between the letters. Pay attention fully. If the distance between Europe and one of these is misspelled, which one is it? And when they mark me with a sign 1, they tell us which part of our code needs to be corrected. Now that I'm copying for mail, you can see that the transparency of my voice can be adjusted. As you can see. And think, Saturday morning too. Now 2:20. You see, like a star burning, whether to rain or blow it for me. I say now copy. It's necessary to see its behavior, now on what level it is, and how it acted, you see everything. Copy these codes for other projects that exist. Now let's move on to this security car. Now I put down the base of this car for you to work according to the job. We have main stars, the body of the car, the wheels, and the parts that exist. The wheels are separate from the body. We need with the branch. Pay attention to the movement. Now if you don't know how to qualitative pick, you can watch my videos here, why I came and I give my body when necessary, when I give the respected body of the car at the position part, because this part is interdependent. The car both horizontally and it has 3 vertical, front, back, up and down movements can be wrong in the percentage, which to be able to specify each of these parameters separately, just give a value on the PC. Right-click the position and press N from there. Now separately in the direction of X and 1.5, move have the separate position. Access, and I'm coming because most pictures of my car move on the path in the up and down direction. And I go mostly to the left and right, and I come to code 4. Oh, the Persian positions move along the y-axis. Well, now if I see that the animation shape is improved, I will do the same work better. What I did for the car body, I do the same for the wheels. Right-click the right-click position and set the amount in. I move the other value I had for the direction with the paste. Even I can come when I move the body committee of the car backwards. Now, where the back of your hand should be, I can say 1V glass and in or even less or more depending on your intention. Give it to the car body and the protein so that it moves up and down a bit. from the back, as we know, from the front. When I put the body in the back, it's much cleaner what I'm doing. Now, to have the overall movement of the car, and bring a cry to them and cover all these elements with that cry, and see how they can do it. Hitting in my pocket and shaking all the whole car are brought under control, and that's beautifully done. Well, sometimes you've seen a series of images, videos, or car shapes with a slight soft shake, the camera on the hand. For this job, if I say to later, you'll see that I have a soft move here for sure. Watch out if this number upper was visible and your image is out of the frame. We also need to scale your frame a lot to cover around it. Well, let's move on to coding a board unlike the others. Even for using the club, we need to have quality. Let's create a metro so that we can place it in these rounds as written. L2 has to open the big old man's route with a close parentheses I say which half of these loops I'm showing you now. If they see me, I have a half laptop. Cleaning up. Also, I should say that the points that don't differ from laptops with open and close parentheses. If you write commands and there is nothing inside the parentheses, it is as if it were the same site. If we see this part, let's discuss ping pong laptops together. It has one ping pong mode and one back and forth mode is present. Now, to better understand it, I say that I make this football half rubbing half to 1 second to come from left to right and move. Now, they seal it here and I come and write it down. You can find the command now when I name it. We see what back and forth form this event takes. Has fallen and is happening. Now with what meaning of HI, which means continuity, when I have one error and not even this is an effect. I do. Now it's the same path with the same game for me. It goes on indefinitely. Let's see now. This hat is taken off the truck, and he secretly deals with the passports I have in my bag. This cycle must. Goes back to the beginning of the half. He starts again from the beginning. Watch the movement. When from the clothes I use. This happens. When I have a half frame of another film, I come from the beginning to the end. It adds the same punishment and a half movement went. And the return is holding the same ping pong here. Now let me clean the shadow of the same thing I said to see that. Empty flight has the same command. It performs, but it is clear from the flower site that it must complete one cycle for me. Now I'm not saying we've cut frames, we're trying. I mean pulling it out of linear motion and moving it a bit to take on a curve to people from the beginning we said I'll get one. When it's complete. Now please let me tell you about this board. If we see my creatures until before you say frames come, they don't move. And my ant's standing still as soon as I have the worms. Passes. His movement starts, and the opposite means until before you say frames. The movement of my place is happening. From the beginning, when frames end, it's no longer there for me. Well, this method to control the benefit I provide in coding. Now let's move on to this European animation we saw together. See how it should be done. I'll first place the ball. Spiders place the ball at the lowest point on the computer for its rotation. Be careful of this. Then I say game. Correct, it is made big and does the ball intelligence in 1 second. When I'm on the ground, playing the first film pushes 10 halves or 12 balls up and says in. Now frame 20 can take a fraction of the amount in a second and go out to buy right now. 1.5 linear animations are here. I see the ball's movement. When it goes up excessively, now 1 or 2 frames come back from that height and accelerate. It catches and comes down. For this work, I bring the middle and make it precious, and I come to the reactor. Now that I've taken the line like this, that is located above and coming down at speed. Now, my ball has a better softness. Now when obtaining the position mention points are used. I make this O line my intention in situations where you know I continue it when I hit it again. Search for me. When it has one rotation and one rotation, just press the button on the sofa as they have created a topic, because it is now rotate in the middle and on sand with the star time command, which I'll tell you about Ali, or I can also say it's cultural. Go to tension. Now see, everyone knows if I want this symbol to be more attractive, you can resize it. Also, they bring dependent skating and animation. As you can see, when the ball approaches the ground, when it reaches a distance from the ground, the cross-sectional area. Well, I can take advantage of this opportunity and come and mark or other as well in this way. When you hold down the shadow command key, you can also use the lap command, and of course, include the ball. Again, if we want to strengthen a team's P-League, we can use their Iskoevich technique, meaning the stretch and the broadening become my ant. If it's enough for this, I can bring my ball with scale out of dependence and come when it's coming. He wants to extract it when the ball is close to the ground. Come closer to its original dimensions and spread out again, which they do this job for it and the point. I copy-paste the things that happened to him, and until those times, when I put the movies. See, just as easily the animation was done, and now with reference placement for some balls, they can make the chicken. To get it. We give you a series of coins in the coin shower, where you can easily half secure. Now, Andy's money. That we see, and the smoke they took the halves and put them in different positions at various times in the queue. If I have Shapur in a way that you see him so easily, if we enable a problem for money and you see them half, scale to the depth of field of view. Make one larger, make them smaller and differentiate their places. This rainfall becomes much more realistic. But let's move on to the time commands. Well, one point that from the example relationship that I myself use I'm doing in the movements that rotate, and for the rest of Persepolis, it's not very efficient. Go in there too. For example, 10. Turning means it rotates 10.5 degrees in half a second. If you increase the speed, in 1 second, it rotates 100 degrees. The speed of gear rotation now we want to give it to 1,000 in this calculation, 10, that in half a second, transparency increases by 10%. It increases more until I come. Second. For example, on 4 seconds, it definitely increases so in each second left that we give, it comes and adds to it. For example, if I come in a position X-oriented 33 meters, then in 1 second, 30 pixels this cycle enters the frame. And enters the frame. When it's 2 seconds, other tasks that you insist on, when we want 1 full time and 1.5 programs. When we make this refinement, it helps us a lot. For this purpose, it is enough to choose a half-text layer. Now whatever I say, 20 times, I open on terrorists there. I also hit Israel's time at 50. You see that one number appears for me, and when you say hello, for example, when it becomes number 1.5, it is executed. It can be. If it comes between a series of decimal numbers for me, and I don't know that whole number. If I want to see the complete integer, we use one of the officials in Tehran, and in this file that code. That is for me, an inhumane number is done until it reaches 50. No longer are these decimal numbers that become irrational. Now if I want to prevent it, now let it be an expression with a percentage. If it is dollars, of course, it should be positive. I hit it, gap of and I hit the site I want to type for it, which is now stuck to nothing and is moving with it. Similarly for dollars. Thank you for your view. We've seen it until the end here. As usual, the problem is with the lady. Don't forget that you have lost the video. Like و سابسکرایب یادتون نره. مرسی.